Yo, what's going on, guys? Today, we're going to be going over my games trying to get #1 in the global tournament for the 11th time. Riley and Mohamed Light were both playing in this global tournament, so I knew there would be some pretty interesting competition. I mean, I think Riley lost out kind of early, but Mohamed Light did actually push up until the end. So I decided to play Piggy's Earthquake, and guys, I was recording all these games live, but I wasn't able to add my commentary live because I was recording so late I had to stay up until like, I don't know, just really late to play this global tournament. So yeah, I was up against Lava Hound for my first game. I had already faced this guy, I think on ladder, and I lost to him a couple times, I believe, so I was actually not feeling too good here. Yeah, he had Lava Luna, then he had the Void as well, I believe, so I made sure that my queen got in a really nice position here, just preventing him from being able to void it because it was right next to my tower. I could have played the cannon here, but I actually just decided to let the balloon get a hit. Maybe that was a bit of a mistake. I was not even 100% sure if the balloon would get a hit, but unfortunately for me, it just barely did. I got some nice piggies off here, though. But then he showed me that he had the barbs, unfortunately. I played the queen ability just a second late, but he wasted the snowball on nothing, so kind of made stuff worth it. But yeah, this matchup can be pretty tough. Even though Void is kind of trash now, it's actually still pretty good against this deck, because this deck really doesn't have anything great to block it. And also, I mean, just the fact that they have barbs and bomber, you can't really get through with your piggies pretty much ever. And you have no offense besides that. See, the thing is, I feel like if you play super well against Lava Hound, you can kind of defend with piggies, but you just can't break through. That's the bigger issue most of the time. Unless you're facing a bad Lava Hound player, then sometimes they'll just go super aggressive. You get a ton of damage and get put into a good spot. I was thinking he might Lava the bridge here, but luckily for me, he didn't. He just decided to go for a balloon. I really don't know why. I popped my ability. It's really good to go for your queen ability early because then you can get to a second one by the time it walks up. He did go for a void, but it didn't fully kill my queen. So I think overall that was honestly not the best for him. I went for some split pigs here just to make sure I could get a second queen ability. Then I also made sure that, yeah, if he wasted a spell there, my Evo Skellies would cause him some trouble. Didn't really do too much to him, but it forced his Evo bomb route, which I knew would be nice for me to get my king tower up off of. I was hoping my log wouldn't clip it here. Sometimes it does, but luckily for me it didn't. Sometimes it is good to cycle a cannon early against Lava Loon, because if you do so, then you're going to be able to sometimes activate your king tower by using 2 cannons. Or just like pull the balloon all around the map, you know, either or. So I knew he might go for a void here. I wanted to get my cannon down really quickly, and I think I was able to. He went for a snowball. I don't really know what that snowball was for. I mean, I guess it pushed my queen to the other lane away from the Lava Hound, but overall I defended fairly well. But, you know, even the Lava Hound chip damage is just really too much to take sometimes. And guys, at this point, I believe I was in the top 50 at least, maybe even like top 10 or something. My piggies went crazy on the tower. I don't know why this guy decided to Lava Hound when he had pigs on his tower. I don't know what this guy was thinking. I just knew I needed a few piggies nibbles here, and I was able to get the log on the barbs, so that enabled the pigs to take it in a pretty difficult matchup. So I kept on searching, and I faced this guy here. Unfortunately, I knew this would be a really bad matchup. I knew this guy was playing Mega Knight, so I went for my split piggies first play. You can actually get into a lot of trouble if your opponent goes for Mega Knight and you play pigs all the same lane at the start of the match. It is better to play split pigs first play if you think your opponents may have Mega Knight, but for me, people pretty much don't play Mega Knight at top ladder, except this guy. I think Mega Knight is really broken, but if they don't face Pekka, they can actually do really well against stuff like pigs, for example. Luckily for me, I decided to put Goblinstein in the deck. I was kind of just switching my decks a little bit. At this point, I was already quite high up on the leaderboard, so I knew people might try to snipe me a little bit. I was trying to kind of just sometimes play Hog a couple of the games, you know, sometimes put Goblinstein over Queen. The reason why I put Goblinstein here is because I knew that most people were playing Cycle decks, and Goblinstein is a bit better against Cycle compared to Queen in this deck. It is worse against Beatdown, though. Like, that Lava Hound match, for example, I would have lost that with Goblinstein, I'm sure, but can be worth it against building decks especially. The Goblinstein goes insane. The reason why is because they always have to play their bomb tower or cannon or whatever on your pigs, but then you just go for a Goblinstein and they're kind of dead usually. They can't really defend it in most cases. But yeah, I was kind of just chilling here. I knew that this game wouldn't be won all at once. I knew that he probably would not lose his tower or take much damage at one time, but I was thinking just little by little I could chip him down. And guys, watch this Evo Ice Spirit timing. If you time it perfectly, it can fully counter the Skelly Barrel. The Ice Spirit will come just at the perfect time with that second freeze. What you have to do is you have to play the Evo Ice Spirit right after it takes like 1 or 2 shots from the Princess Tower. If you go for it instantly, then it's not going to get that second freeze effect right away on the skeletons once they pop out of the barrel. I got some nice piggies damage here. I just identified that he was not going to have enough elixir for a Mega Knight. Got a really good delivery as well on absolutely everything here. So yeah, honestly, this matchup is quite hard, but I was just playing really well. I feel like even if I had Queen at this point, I'd still be winning by a ton, so You can see, like, even without Goblin-Stein to have a little bit of a tank, you can still beat this matchup, even though it's pretty difficult. Got back to my log just in time for this Goblin gang. And guys, it was pretty late for me, so I was a little bit worried because I feel like against this guy's deck, it's so easy to misplay, and if you make one big misplay, or even one little misplay, you can just lose the entire game against this sort of deck, so I was not feeling that good. And yeah, it was just so late, so I knew I could easily make some sort of misplay without thinking and just lose the game. It's not always that easy to play super late for me, honestly, but I'm kind of getting used to it just because of CRL. I feel like I always have to stay up anyways. He did go for the Mega Knight at the bridge. Honestly, I didn't really realize at first that he didn't have Evo Mega Knight. I thought he did, but then he actually had Evo Bats and Evo Zap, no Evo MK. Stuff was kind of starting to go a little bit weird here. Skeleton's got a lot of chip damage. I was a little bit slow with the log there. Got really good Evo Skellies, though. I had to Earthquake the gang. Don't be afraid to do that, though. Just a 3-for-3 trade really is not bad at all. But he got some chip damage, so I just knew I had to fully focus here, take no more random chip damage or anything. Man, the Spear Goblins can be so annoying, actually. Guys, I swear, the Spear Goblins will just ignore absolutely everything you play and then just go straight for your tower no matter what. You literally have to play your cannon hugging your tower, otherwise the Spear Goblins will always go for the tower instead of the cannon. So here I just tried to Earthquake cycle a little bit. I knew that I probably would not get much more Pigs damage at all unless he overcommitted a lot. He was spending kind of a lot here, so I did decide to go for the Piggies a little bit late, hoping he might Miner or something, and he did decide to do so, so he didn't have the Mega Knight. Yeah, that was beautiful for me. He had Evo Zap, though, so he took kind of minimal damage there still. But yeah, I knew I could Earthquake cycle him out and probably beat him before he could Miner chip me. Unless he got some sort of extra incidental chip damage, which I knew could be possible. But yeah, honestly, this deck that this guy's playing, it's pretty popular in mid-ladder, I think. So probably a lot of you guys face similar matchups, so you guys can see how I was playing. And yeah, I pretty much played no Goblin-Steins the whole game, so even with Archer Queen, you can still win. You just have to try to get your king up early, I feel like, when you have Archer Queen. The most important thing with the Archer Queen variation in this matchup is to get your king. But then the Mega Knight jumped on my tower! You know, I kind of forgot that even happened. Yeah, then I thought I just lost. I had 5 losses available, I think, or like 4, so I wasn't too pressed if I lost one, but I didn't want to. But yeah, somehow I came out alive. Dude, I'm genuinely stressed watching this. I'm not even like putting on an act or something. I'm genuinely kind of stressed watching this back. But yeah, I ended up getting the very nice win here against Mega Knight. Alright, for the next game, I was facing Johnny Appleseed from the Fairy Tales. And guys, at this point, I just want to get a few quick wins here and try to get kind of close to the #1 spot, because the thing about global tournaments is a lot of the time, when you're at the very top, you just end up not being able to find a match at the end because you can only face people who are either the same wins as you or give or take 1 win. A lot of the time, people just not be able to play out their full GT. I see a lot of the time people ask, like, why I didn't play more matches or something, just because I couldn't find more half the time, but I knew that if I pushed up quickly here, I would be able to hopefully have a chance at that #1 spot. I was still a few games away from getting too close, but I don't know, I was feeling pretty good. Wasn't really getting any losses at all. I think I did just have 1 loss, so that was not bad. I knew this guy was playing Golem, so I decided to delivery the bridge. Not really a play I would normally ever do. I'd normally cycle the Earthquake or something, but just had to do that there. This guy's Golem variation does have Dark Prince and everything like that, so it's not the easiest. Got some nice piggies right there, but yeah, he had Bomber, you know, Dark Prince, everything like that, but I got really good piggies damage there. Just really good timing on the piggies. I knew that with my Evo Ice Spirit and Evo Skellies both in cycle, I could afford to be a little bit more aggressive than I normally would, so I knew I could get away with that. See, guys, with this deck, sometimes you need a lot of Elixir to defend, but a lot of the time you can just play really aggressive if you have your Evos in cycle or coming up soon. I went for my Evo Skellies here. I thought this might be really good. Yeah, I think the Evo Skellies stayed alive. Yeah, that was beautiful, actually. They just kept on going. I think I did have to Evo Ice Spirit, yeah, but it was kind of worth it into the Skelly Drags too. And I'm pretty sure I went for the Piggies as well. Yeah, honestly, just a beautiful set of interactions for me right there. And I knew he'd take some pretty hefty damage from my Piggies. The real concern in this matchup is when they get to double Elixir and they get a huge Electro Dragon Golem push. That's when it gets really hard to stop if they play well. Especially Golem Healer is actually really scary. I think Golem Healer actually counters Piggies, but I'm pretty sure when they don't have Healer, you have a pretty decent match. You just have to play quite well. You have to spam so many deliveries too. I actually got the Ice Spirit connected on the tower. Kind of lucky for me that I got so much damage early, because I think if I didn't, it would be kind of hard to get damage while still defending cleanly as well. Yeah, he went for the E-Drag, so I was thinking in my head that I'm just going to try to cycle 2 deliveries. That's really the best way to deal with them, because if they're smart, they're not really going to allow your queens to always get onto them. I went for a high cannon as well, but his E-Drag was still somehow chaining on everything. Got a really good queen there. Went for some piggies and Evo skellies. Maybe not the best piggies of all time, but I didn't know he'd play the skeleton dragons right away right there. I think I just played the delivery. Kind of wanted to save the Evo Ice Spirit. Ended up taking some damage because of it, but I was fine with that. And yeah, I think I started to Earthquake cycle, but I knew that he'd probably get a Golem at the breach, so I didn't want to overcommit and accidentally lose the game. You can cycle a ton of Earthquakes really quickly, but you sometimes want to be a little bit safer. I went for the queen off to the side here. Whenever you're faced off with a Golem push, you always want to play your queen kind of off to the side if possible, instead of sort of down the middle, because if you play off to the side, it has a better chance to then lock on to the support troops like the Electro Dragon later on, rather than when you play it in the middle, just fully going to be on the Golem. Yeah, I countered that bomber really well. I just knew I needed to get one more Earthquake off here for a very nice win. Pop my queen ability too, just to kill whatever he would spam at the bridge there. And I knew Earthquake would do enough damage to take the win, so yeah, I was able to kind of just destroy Golem. So everything was going pretty well. I think I was about maybe top 10 at this point, maybe a little bit higher even, and I kept on playing pigs. I faced a bait player here, so I was like, oh, should be a pretty free matchup. Then I saw the Valkyrie, and I was just confused because I saw this guy was playing earlier, and he didn't have Valkyrie, so I knew that he might have sniped me. That's when I gave the angry face. So yeah, I was just playing my normal deck, and he ended up deciding to snipe me with a kind of weird bait variation of some sort. There was another surprise he had waiting for me, which I didn't know yet at this time, so you guys will see what happens pretty soon here. Normally our deck does do super well against Logbait. The barrel itself is no issue. I mean, Evo barrel can honestly be an issue for basically any deck. But I was thinking, okay, maybe I can still deal with this, even though he has Valkyrie, it's gonna probably still be winnable. I went for the piggies, was trying to pre-Earthquake onto a cannon, I think, or something, but then he had the bomb tower too. So basically this guy was just playing a Logbait deck, but then he randomly decided to add Valkyrie and bomb tower just to counter my piggies deck better. You might think it's still not bad for our deck since we have, you know, double small spell, but that's such an overcommit to go for the delivery and the log against Evo barrel, and also you just don't always have both spells in cycle. So I was thinking this would be really tough, because at the end of the day, they can always just rocket cycle you. That's pretty much how they play this matchup. But my Goblin Monster here actually got a ton of damage, because I feel like this guy didn't really use his Elixir that well. So I was already feeling like, okay, this is a really bad matchup, I think, but I could have a decent chance. I mean, I'll be honest with you guys, I think if I had Archer Queen, this would be 100-0 for him. But just because of Goblinstein, it helped so much against this sort of deck. See, because he always has to waste the bomb tower on the piggies. Well, he doesn't have to. But I feel like this guy didn't really know that, because he's not used to maybe facing Goblinstein piggies, since everyone always plays it with Queen now. See, if I were this guy, I would just always rocket every set of piggies and Valkyrie log them, if I have to, and then just bomb tower for every Goblinstein. That's really all this guy had to do, so I knew that it would still be kind of hard to win, even though I was up a lot of damage, if he played well, but he just had no bomb tower again, so this monster got to the tower. Okay, not quite, actually. He did just barely get to the bomb tower in time. I couldn't really piggies, though, into the Valkyrie. I kind of just had to waste stuff here. Went for my Evo Skellies. I thought Cannon might distract the Princess. It didn't, and he actually got a ton of damage. I could have been a little bit quicker with my cards right there, I feel like, and maybe taking a bit less damage. My Doctor stayed alive, though, just stunning up the Valkyrie, completely ruining it. See, I feel like sometimes this guy should have just played the rocket on the piggies. I don't know why he didn't. So yeah, I was kind of getting ready to BM this guy a little bit and stuff. Like, I can't believe, like, I don't know. How do you snipe like this and you just lose so badly? No offense to this guy, of course. Just a game at the end of the day, but I just said well played to him. Well played. Hey, I mean, if you know, people can snipe if they want to, but, you know, they better be ready for some BM if they're going to try to do that. Yeah, he once again wasted the bomb tower. I gave him some me's as well. And I just went for a high cannon here. Just had nothing better to really cycle at this point, honestly. And I knew that he couldn't really rocket cycle me here, because he could try, but I knew for sure I'd just outdo him with the Earthquake cycle. And that Doctor actually got one nice hit on the tower, too. Yeah, so I just need, you know, a handful of Earthquakes and to not somehow let a barrel get, like, 1,000 damage or something like that. My Wi-Fi was actually acting up a little bit earlier in the day, I think, so I was kind of scared my Wi-Fi would randomly go out. It normally works like 99% of the time, but just once every, like, month or so, it'll just randomly stop during a game, which kind of sucks. That piggy actually somehow got a nibble. See, the thing is, Bomb Tower is so broken against piggies, but if you have piggies Earthquake, you can actually still sometimes break through Bomb Tower even. Not easily, but it's possible for sure. I went for my ability here, just didn't want that Princess to do too much. Got a really nice ability hitting the Evo Skeletons as well. And I just knew this game was in the bag at this point. But it's just kind of crazy how easily I was able to win this snipe deck. I mean, against this snipe deck. Because honestly, this guy played terrible, but it also goes to show how broken Piggies is right now as well. Like, I love Piggies, and I feel like I can play it with super high skill, sometimes outplay really difficult matchups, but I do have to be honest, man, it feels like Piggies are so broken sometimes. That one Piggy somehow got to the tower, so yeah, that sealed the deal against Snipe. Alright, so in the next one, I was facing Johnny Appleseed's little brother. I beat Johnny Appleseed earlier, so I guess his little brother wanted to get revenge for him. I knew this guy was probably playing Pekka, and yeah, he went for it basically first play. So against Pekka, you can beat it pretty well for sure, with the Evo Ice Spirit, Evo Skellies especially being the best cards for you, but it's so easy to choke this matchup. Anything goes wrong, and you might just be completely dead, so it's definitely not as easy as it looks. He decided to go for a Ram Rider opposite lane. I'm honestly not really sure why. I spaced out my cannon here for my queen, just thinking that he might have lightning. Honestly, a really smart cannon placement. You guys should definitely take note of that. Yeah, I got a nice log here on the bandit too, and I got my Evo Ice Spirit as well, which I knew would really help me out for my next defense. I accidentally spammed the crying emote against him. Man, guys, I've been having so much fun in Clash Royale lately, though, honestly. I was just playing 2v2 a bunch with my old high school friends today. We had a blast, and I asked them what they thought of the 2v2 ladder, and they seemed to love it too, so pretty happy with things. I was kind of thinking that I might not really get any matches in the global tournament because everyone was playing 2v2 ladder, but luckily I was still able to face a few people for sure. Got some nice Piggies damage here. He got a pretty good ghost off, but still those Piggies got a crazy amount of damage. It's kind of insane how much damage Piggies get if your opponent doesn't have like a bomb tower. But even against bomb tower, as I was saying, if you earthquake that, they still have to respond. So even bomb tower is not a complete solution. The best counter to them is Mega Knight, but then they just always can be split anyways. I went for some Piggies here. Honestly, bad Piggies in hindsight. I didn't really think he would do that Ram Rider. I didn't really realize he had Evo Skeletons in Cycle either. I think maybe if he didn't have Evo Skeletons in Cycle, those would have been good Piggies, but I just wasn't paying attention to that because normally Pekka decks don't have Evo Skellies, so I wasn't really counting. Which was my bad, and that put me in a pretty bad spot. So here's where I thought I might lose, actually, because I knew he probably had Lightning still, so I'd just really struggled to go in the same lane, but I wasn't sure what else I could even do at this point. Yeah, I did go for Piggies straight into this Pekka. Seems really aggressive, and it's not a good play, but I had to do it because I was down so much damage at this point. And Piggies actually kind of pulled through with at least a few nibbles, kind of put me back into it a little bit, but I knew his push here might get a lot of damage, so I was still not too happy about things. I went for my queen kind of up high here. Just knowing that he would have a lightning, I wanted to space out my stuff nicely. I let go of the bandit, actually. I don't think the bandit by him was very good. And luckily my cannon did get directly on the Ram Rider, so I was able to counter stuff pretty well. Went for some Evo Skellies, and I think I went for more Piggies. Yeah, he got a really good Evo Pekka here, because Evo Pekka heals up so much off of Piggies. You have to be really careful with your Piggies when they have Evo Pekka in cycle, because you can just heal it so much. Like right here is Evo Pekka basically had like, I don't know, like a third more HP or something like that. Which is kind of insane. Yeah, the delivery didn't do anything to it. Look at all those Princess Tower shots, cannon shots, and the Pekka's still on full HP. I was kind of concerned here, actually, but man, Evo Ice Spirit was just clutching up so much. He went for a super late lightning. I knew he was in trouble here. He wasted the rage as well. That was honestly a terrible rage. Pekka was still kind of healthy, but luckily it died. And then my Piggies just started going completely crazy. Oh man, that was so nice. I can't believe I came back so well from that one. So I knew if I won this match here, I would have a very high chance of finishing #1. I decided to play Hog Earthquake because after that Logbait player sniped me, I just didn't want to take any more chances. There were only a few players I could actually face. There was only, actually a few people who were the same wins as me or close to it. So yeah, I just wanted to play something a little bit different. This guy did have a minor wall breakers deck with the Cannoneer as well. I wasn't 100% sure what variation he was running, but I was thinking this might be kind of a difficult matchup because Cannoneer can really mess up stuff for Hog Rider. Cannoneer's actually kind of broken against Hog Riders still, despite all the nerfs it got. When it was first released, you just could never break through it with Hog Rider. But man, Dagger Duchess was even worse than Cannoneer. My Firecracker kind of moved to the side a little bit, but he was still able to get his King Tower up very early, which was kind of bad for me. I played my Ice Tiny here. Just wanted to use that 3-card cycle of the Goblin Doctor. If you play a card right before your champion dies, then it's going to help you cycle back to some card quicker that's already on the field. Like my Hog Rider in that case, because I was thinking here, like, might be kind of impossible to get damage sometimes, but if I'm able to outcycle with my Goblinstein a bit, maybe I could have a chance. I got some really good Evo Skellies here, maybe not the best miner by him, to be honest. And I knew since he had Cannoneer, my Evo Skellies would still force out some sort of response. At least I was thinking they would. Wasn't sure if his King Tower might help him out or not, but Firecracker still did do something there. Got a little bit of tower chip damage as well, which was pretty cool. Went for the Hog Rider here. But yeah, unfortunately, he was already able to get back to the bomb tower really quickly. Kind of had to overspend here on the Evo wall breakers. They're actually not that bad against my sort of deck. I mean, Cannon can always counter them. It is a -1 though, but other than that, Ice Spirit plus Log does also counter them pretty well. I remember they used to be so broken though, when they were first released. But yeah, I was thinking my one nice thing here would be the Goblin Stein mainly. And also guys, I'm a little bit sniffly today, so I do apologize for that. A little bit sick. Not really, but I think just from the cold weather maybe. Yeah, so my Goblin monster got on the tower, got some pretty nice damage. And guys, some balance changes are in the game now where Golem Stein is a little bit weaker, just a tiny bit, just a sliver. But at the time of this recording, it was not nerfed, so it was fully broken. His Goblin Doctor somehow killed my Firecracker. I have no idea how it stayed alive for so long. But I was doing a really good job of mitigating damage at this point. I wasn't getting damage, but I wasn't really taking much damage either. I was kind of happy he had Fireball and not a Poison or something. He did Fireball here, but I feel like for Fireball, it's a little bit harder to just get good combos with your Miner and stuff. Because with Poison, you can just, like, prevent your opponent from playing Skellies or any Swarm card. But with Fireball, you can play around it a little bit more as the Hog player. But yeah, I was just taking advantage of the fact that he started with less HP, having the Cannoneer Tower. Because in reality, we were actually pretty even at this point. But just his little bit lower HP start put me in a good spot. I went for the Firecracker kind of up high here, just wanted to make sure that he couldn't get any sort of spell value onto my tower. He went for kind of a terrible bomb tower, but his Goblin Stein was actually inching towards my tower. I think I might have killed his Doctor. Yeah, I was able to kill his Doctor, which was huge right there. My Goblin Monster did reach the tower, so I went for the ability. Doesn't do a crazy amount of damage, but it's really worth it in this sort of matchup, where it's kind of hard to come across too much damage. Got a beautiful Firecracker, it pretty much always wrecks the Evo Bats. Even if they get fully healed up, they still get wrecked, which is really nice. So yeah, I was at a pretty nice damage lead here. He kept on cycling the Miners. I did not have anything. I had to Earthquake, which was horrible for me. His Doctor got a shot too. His Wallbreaker connected. His Bats nibbled away. Every single thing went wrong right there. And then he just Fireballed, and I was already down in damage once again. Or not once again, for the first time, I think, actually. So yeah, I was feeling pretty bad here. I did have some losses to spare. I knew if I lost this one, I'd still have, I think, like 3 losses or so to continue playing. But there was just not too much time left in this tournament, so I knew I needed to win. Got a beautiful Hog hit right there. Evo Skellies did absolute work. He didn't pop his ability for some reason. Then I went for a cannon, kind of just hugging my tower here. Wanted to make sure those Evo Bats would die. That was my main concern. He went for the kind of late Fireball. I just knew I needed 2 more Earthquakes and 2 Logs as well. These Bats were a bit of an issue, though, because I wasted my Ice Spirit. I was hoping the Wall Breakers would die here. Cycled the Log. He cycled the Fireball. I got the win. I got the win, guys. I can't believe I got the win, though. So I ended up getting #1 in the global tournament for the 11th time. I just want to say thank you all so much for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe if you want me to go for 12 #1 global tournament finishes and double what the second place holder has at 6. Alright guys, take care. Have a great day.